Despite the South African economy undergoing extremely difficult times, with industries such as mining and manufacturing facing enormous strain and challenges, the Gauteng Department of Economic Development has once again posted a clean audit report for 2014-2015. The department forms part of the 19 of the 35 provincial entities to get a clean audit from the previous year. MEC Lebohang Maile heads the Gauteng Economic Development Department and now joins us in the studio to talk about the report as well as the beginning of the construction of the industrial development zone near OR Tambo. Thanks for joining me, MEC.
Thanks, and good evening to you and the viewers at home.
Now, before we touch on the audit report, talk to us about the beginning of the construction of this industrial development zone near OR Tambo International Airport.
Well, this industrial development zone, it's a jewelry manufacturing precinct which is going to be used for beneficiating raw materials, because as you know that we've got a lot of minerals as South Africa, and most of them leave the country raw and they come back as finished products. So we want to make sure that when those products leave our shores, they are already processed and finished, and that way there could be an added value into the economy, because you know that our economy is the leading economy. It contributes about 36% in the GDP of the country. We want to further expand and diversify our economy, and therefore we need to look at other things to bring more value into the economy, and this is one such initiative. We are excited that finally the project, which has delayed for about 2 years or more, it's actually taking shape, and on Friday we'll be launching the program with the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. The first phase of the project will be the installation of the bulk infrastructure, so that we can be able to start with the construction of the actual manufacturing plant.
Now, you've just mentioned a few challenges and delays with actually completing this project. Is this type of construction a success anywhere else in the world, and how is it benefiting the economy in the long term?
Well, it is, because you will know that, like I've just said now, that some of our products leave our shores being raw and they come back as finished products. And we take it to countries like India, Turkey, and they process this because they have developed the skill, they've acquired the technology, and it's creating jobs. And in the long run, it will definitely create stable jobs for our economy. It will bring added value. It will also help us to build more skills and give opportunities to young people who have interest in the manufacturing and beneficiation industries.
MEC, take us through the value-adding industries within this project.
Well, the first important thing will be the skills, because if you don't have the skills, you will not be able to process this. So we will be collaborating with tertiary institutions for starters to make sure that we build the right skills, because without those, we'll not be able to beneficiate this. And the second part is to obviously get the actual minerals. You know that in Gauteng, we're not that strong in terms of mining. In fact, our mining town, which is West Rand, is it's dying now, and we will not be able to revive mining in that area. But we want to look at how can we collaborate with our sister provinces who are strong in mining, so that we get those raw materials. There will obviously be opportunities like transporting those, opportunities like polishing things like diamonds, processing the minerals, and then you must store them, you must export them, amongst other things.
Let's look at the manufacturing sector in South Africa. I mean, it's been in decline for quite some time. Do you think this is the right time to try and revive it, and also really talk about it to see how we can take it further?
Yes, definitely. In fact, what we have done as Gauteng provincial government, we have identified about 11 sectors of the economy that we want to focus on. Manufacturing is one of those, because we believe that if we want to reindustrialize, we need to enhance our manufacturing capacity. If you look at a region like Ekurhuleni, it has got a huge potential of manufacturing. There are a lot of factories there that had to close down over years, and like you say, manufacturing has declined. At some point it was contributing about 22% or 24% into our economy. It's now sitting at 11%. And if we can focus and zoom into specific industries so that we build a capacity for our economy to produce, because we are mostly consuming, and that's not good for the economy. Most of the things are being imported. If you take the health sector, for instance, things like surgical gloves, the masks that are there, and a lot of other equipments that are used in our hospitals. In Gauteng, we spend about 6 billion plus per annum from our health budget spending on imported goods, and if that money could be retained in the economy, can circulate in the economy, can then create a lot of jobs. So there's a huge opportunity for manufacturing. And you look at Africa, most of the products that we consume as a continent are imported. But also, if you look at the intra-Africa trade, it's sitting at about 11%. In SADC, it's better, it's sitting at 19%. So if we are able to increase that manufacturing capacity as South Africa, we think we can take a lead in the industrial revolution of Africa, because Africa must start producing the things that we eat, the things that we the clothes that we wear and everything. So that's our main focus, and we think that we've got this responsibility as the biggest economy in South Africa and the fourth largest economy in Africa to take a lead, to take the initiative. We've got the skill, we've got the economic infrastructure, we are strategically located, and the fact that this manufacturing plant will be next to the airport, it also demonstrates that we are serious about looking at things like how do we move goods, logistics, transport, and all that becomes very important.
MEC, I want us to shift focus now and look at the audit report. Your department received a clean audit. Well done for that. Now, what sort of interventions did you put in place to achieve this? Well,
I must say it's not just the department, it's the department and 10 of its entities. So the 19 clean audits reports we have in the Gauteng provincial government, as the Economic Development Department, with our agencies, we account for 11 of those. So that's significant. And the other two agencies just received unqualified, which is good enough as well. There are weaknesses which we will be looking at, because we want to have clean audit in all the agencies of the department. We want to get to a point where we no longer celebrate clean audit. It must be a way of doing things, because we need to entrench a good governance in everything that we do. We obviously had to work hard, had to get the right people, had to put systems in place, had to work with the AG so that we understand where we went wrong, because in the last 21 years, there have been a lot of challenges in government in terms of putting systems in place and adhering to the PFMA and other necessary legislations. So it was not easy. It was through hard work, and I want to congratulate the head of department with her team and the CEOs of our agencies with their teams as well, and we will continue working hard to ensure that we maintain this clean audit, because it places a heavy burden. Once it becomes clean, you can't regress. You need to consolidate, and that's what we are doing. And one way of consolidating is to make sure that we get people with the right skills, people with the right attitude, people who are prepared to go an extra mile, who are determined, and that way we will be able to sustain this clean audit. Now, you mentioned that there were instances where you felt like you went wrong. Can you take us through some of those challenges? If you look at most government entities and departments, areas like human resource management, where, for instance, people are not correctly appointed, procedure is not followed in appointing people. In certain instances, we hire people who don't have skills and all that. So we have overcome all that. Issues of supply chain, where there is no proper contract management. Sometimes supply chain processes are being flouted. So we have tightened screws in all those. We have introduced systems, and we want to ensure that those systems that we entrench, I mean, we introduce are systems that can live beyond individuals who are there, because we don't want this clean audit to be dependent on who is there at that particular time. It must be something that is embedded in the organizations and in how we do things. But it shouldn't be a clean audit that is without substance. It must be a clean audit linked to service delivery, because at the end of the day, our primary mandate is to deliver services to the people, is to ensure that we grow the economy, is to ensure that we create jobs. So that's what we are concerned about as well, not just having a clean audit, because you can get a clean audit without doing much.
MEC, we're running out of time, but are you able to talk to us about the forensic investigations at the State Investment Agency, the GP?
Yes, what we have done, because we have received complaints about some individuals who work in the Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, we then decided that the allegations that are leveled against them are serious, and therefore our forensic unit in the Department of Treasury was called upon to look at those allegations. And once the investigation is done, we'll definitely make it public, because we have said that we have a zero tolerance to corruption in Gauteng, and we're going to root out all the corrupt elements, because we can't afford to have corrupt individuals being harbored in the state, because those people derail service delivery and they make our life difficult, because some of them steal state resources that are meant for improving the lives of our people, and they line their pockets, and that's what we want to do.
Now, do you foresee any lost monies being recovered?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
So that's a yes from you?
Definitely. Anybody who's found to have stolen any money, we're definitely going to go after them.
MEC, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.